Swadikap and good morning everyone. Welcome all participants to the second day of the third Princess Mahachakri Award Forum. Now, before we get on with the plenary session, which we have many today, allow me to introduce some background about the Princess Mahachakri Award. Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn is widely known for her dedication to the educational development. Her Royal Highness' continuous efforts to provide opportunities for disadvantaged children and youth in remote areas to improve their occupations and quality of life means of education have become successful over the years. She sees that education is vital in order to create great occupations and improve standard of living. So this has generated benefits on a national and international level. On this auspicious occasion of the 60th anniversary of Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn in 2015, the Teachers' Councils of Thailand under the Ministry of Education deem it appropriate to request Her Royal Highness permission to establish an international award in honor to admire her endeavors and to grant the name of this award as the Princess Mahachakri Award in order to honor her and also to honor the teachers and also the people who are involved in increasing education to improve standard of living for the disadvantaged children and for other children as well. Therefore, the objective of the Princess Mahachakri Award is to honor Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Srinthorn for her outstanding achievement in the field of education and develop the quality of life, especially for the disadvantaged through education. Second, to recognize the highly dedicated teachers who made significant contribution to education and human development. Third, to support and promote development of teaching profession as well as educational enhancement. And fourth, to strengthen international relations in the field of education between the 10 ASEAN countries and also Timor-Leste. About the PMCA Forum, since the establishment of the Princess Mahachakri Award in 2015, the Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation has conducted 3 awarding ceremonies, once every other year. In between the years of the awarding ceremony, the Princess Mahachakri Award Forum, or PMCA, has been conducted, the first in 2017, the second in 2019, and this year, ladies and gentlemen, is the third PMCA Forum. We have in total 33 outstanding teachers as well as the Princess Mahachakri awardees from the 11 South Asian countries, which are the ASEAN and also Timor-Leste as well. After receiving the award, the PMCA Foundation set up enhancement programs for the awardees, such as providing profession development, supporting on scaling up their activities and creating platform for the awardees to help more students and other teachers follow in their footsteps that are considered to be idols. The PMCA Forum is one of the activities under the enhancement program, which aims to be a platform for teachers to share their teaching techniques and stories to inspire other teachers as well or upcoming teachers in the future. Participants who would like to view this may register and watch online. Excuse me. They can watch online live by going to worldwideweb.pmcaforum.in.th. The conference today will take place from 9 a.m. all the way to 4:30 p.m., including sub-conference and discussions on different topics that you can view simultaneously. And also, these are being done by distinguished speakers and supported audio channels that you can choose the language you prefer. There are Thai, English, and also the teacher's native language as well. So you can go into PMCA YouTube channel, or you can go into Facebook Live by typing Princess Mahachakri Award or going to worldwideweb.pmca.or.th to view this live. Also, for the people who are viewing this, you can also receive an e-certificate. Here are the criteria to receive the e-certificate. First, you must attend the online opening ceremony, at least 2 plenary sessions, which was conducted yesterday on the 22nd of October 2020. Second, attend the online conference of plenary session and show and share session, at least 2 topics today, which is on the 23rd of October 2020, as we will begin from 9 a.m. all the way to 4:30 p.m. Also, share valuable and useful comments and questions via chat box at least 1 time. And finally, complete the questionnaire via email before the 25th of October 2020, and you may receive an e-certificate from yourself from the PMCA. All right. The first topic today is really interesting. The first session today of the plenary session 4 is called My School and COVID-19, Voice of Youth from Southeast Asia. They want to talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected their education. So the panelists include students from all countries in Southeast Asia, and they're the students of our PMCA teacher. Students will be sharing their view of how the COVID-19 impacted their lives, their school, their daily lives, how it limited them to going to school, getting the useful documents and education that they need, and also how they have to social distance themselves from their friends, how technology has become useful, and more importantly, how these teachers help overcome this pandemic by going to student houses and delivering them the documents that they need, sending it via email, and also using live to talk to them, calling them every day, making sure that they're getting the learning done and the necessary information that they need. So the COVID-19 pandemic has not only affected the economic of the country, of the world, but it has also affected education as well. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we will see how the pandemic has affected them, but how the teachers and the student of PMCA has overcome this pandemic. So let's start with the plenary session 4, My School and COVID-19, Voice of Youth from Southeast Asia.
Hi, Sawadika.
I am Atika.
I am Hanif.
And I am Putra.
We are students of Sekolah Menengah Agama Atas Sultan Zainal Abidin Malaysia, and this is our school.
And now, let me take you on a tour around our school and show you what it's like learning during pandemic era. Let's go!
Every morning, we will check our body temperature with the infrared thermometer before going to school. Then, we will record our body temperature in a book that is prepared in our class. This is our daily routine to make sure that we are in a good condition. If our temperature is higher than 37.5 degrees Celsius, we need to stay in the isolation room instead of going to school. In class, in order to maintain social distancing between students, the tables are arranged according to the Standard Operating Procedure SOP with a 1 meter gap between each students. And extra students would be placed in other classes. Each class is prepared with hand sanitizer as one of the efforts to stop the spreading of COVID-19 pandemic. During recess at the school canteen, students need to buy packed food and will be queuing at a distance of 1 meter between each students before returning to their classrooms to eat.
While at the hostel, the ministry has issued similar guidelines for students in dormitories where their beds must be spaced 1 meter apart.
And the dining hall also practices social distancing. There are also students who need to stay at home in order to limit the number of students in school.
When I arrived at school, I scanned my temperature.
we needed to make sure that we had a 1 meter distance with other students. I had physical education this day and were advised to stay 1 meter apart. It was then breakfast time, and nowadays we have breakfast in class. When going home, we're also advised to stay 1 meter apart.
น้องซื้อหนักฮัสนีกูส้มสวัสดิ์หมาเจ้าเนี่ยหมอโซ่สันติภาพ
น้องซื้อว่าเท้าส้มว่างม่อนนะเด้มันน้องเห็นหมอซ้อนสันติภาพ
วันนี้พวกน้องจะมาหนักเสนอเกี่ยวกับการป้องกันโควิด19ในแห่งห้องพวกเขาในแห่งห้องพวกเขาได้ควบคุมอุณหภูมิใช้ผ้าปิดปากมันล้างมือทำซ่าระยะห่างนอกและในโรงเรียนทำความสะอาดห้องหัวอยู่ตลอดเวลา
ทางครูอาจารย์ก็ได้เอาใจใส่ในการป้องกันพยาธิโควิด -19 เช่นได้ฉีดคลอรีนฆ่าเชื้อทั่วโรงเรียนก้วยวัดอุณหภูมินักเรียน สร้างอ่างล้างมือหน้าห้องเรียนเพื่อให้นักเรียนล้างมือเรื่อยๆครูขึ้นห้องก็ใช้ผ้าปิดปากอยู่เสมอนี้ก็แม่นอ่างล้างมือที่ครูอาจารย์ได้สร้างขึ้นในช่วงระบาดของพยาธิโควิด -19 ได้สร้างขึ้นเพื่อให้นักเรียนทำความสะอาดมือของนักเรียน
Right off the bat, when we get to school, we greet our teachers like so. And then we have a little temperature check. We start off the day by having an assembly in front of our classes. Because of COVID, we can't have an assembly with everyone in a close proximity. And as you can see, we're all wearing masks to protect ourselves. When class time comes, we sit at our desks, which are separated accordingly to COVID-19 pandemic social distancing rules. And as you can see, both teachers and students have to wear masks to protect ourselves and each other. When lunchtime comes, we get in an orderly line and go downstairs to the cafeteria. When we get downstairs, we wash our hands or get hand sanitizer that they have for us downstairs. The cafeteria has also been modified just for the pandemic. When getting food, we wait in an orderly line and stand according to the mark on the floor, as you can see. And we just simply wait for our food. We sit at each table, which has dividers set up, because when we eat food, we have to take down our masks.
Hello everyone. My name is Chetawat. I am a student in grade 11 and come from Cambodia.
Hello everyone. My name is Ted Vidayut.
Hello everyone. My name is Kamthidan. I am from Cambodia. I am a student in grade 11.
Hello everyone. My name is Sương Lang Đi. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Cambodia.
Today I would like to show you about my school.
During COVID-19 period, new as you can see, my school was closed for 4 months. When COVID-19 become infected, classroom full are of desks and quiet.
Our school is quiet because don't come to school for almost 4 months.
In fact, all of my schools were closed for almost 4 months. But recently, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport and the Ministry of Health agreed to reopen the second phase of school. Therefore, all of students must follow the instruction of the Ministry of Health, such as they have to wear the mask go to study. In my class, it has only 15 students in class, and the teacher and students have to wear the mask to protect them from COVID-19.
They always make a program called distance education. Distance education. We can download the app from App Store or Play Store, and they always take care of us. Like they always give a lot of exercise to do at home.
Hello!
I'm Bentley,
And I'm Ian.
and we come from Vietnam.
First of all, teachers try to raise students' awareness about COVID-19 and how to prevent the disease by sticking posters in classes, like this one right here.
Besides that, we have to take our temperatures before going to classes. We have to make sure that we are under 37.5 degrees. If higher, then we would have to visit the nurse's office.
Before entering the classroom, we also have to clean hands with alcohol-based hand rub.
Moreover, we have to clean our classroom surfaces, like the desk, our doorknobs, light switches, or windows.
We also have to avoid close contact with each other by wearing face masks and keep distance.
We have to make sure that our face is covered when we cough or sneeze.
We also play sports after school to enhance our own immune system.
Hi everyone, my name is Dea. Right now I'm 18 years old and I'm from Bangkok, Thailand, which we are currently in right now.
And hi, I'm Deva. I'm Dea's twin. And I'm also 18 and I'm also from Bangkok, Thailand.
So one of the challenges that COVID has posed me, is that now I have to study online completely. And I'm going to university in the United States. And so I have a few classes at like 4 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. So I have to stay up until then. And so I wake up at like 12 p.m. or like 1 p.m., which is not very good. And so all of my classes are online now, which is a bit difficult because it's a bit harder to talk to the teacher. It's harder to find friends because you're not really able to speak to them face to face. And so, yeah, there are just a few challenges with online classes, but so far I'm enjoying it.
I've started university in Thailand in medical school, and although it's not a big problem for me, it's been a big problem for other people from my university because first year is usually a huge a huge opportunity for people to get to know each other, to make friendships, to build all these connections that become so important, and it will last all through like 6 years of medical school. So these friendships are very important, but the fact that all the classes are online makes it a lot more difficult for students to form friendships because everyone's just so separated from each other. So there's this huge loss of opportunity to make friends, to build friendships, especially if you're living in other parts of Thailand and not in Bangkok, where you can meet friends all the time. Yeah.
I guess one of the challenges is that, to me, being stuck at home is quite demotivating, especially when it comes to studies, you know. And yeah, I feel like I learn more based off interactive learning. I have had online classes and they're quite, effective, but at the same time, I really miss school learning. Yeah. And I also miss my friends a lot.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the things that was quite challenging, not being able to see your friends as well.
I think I was talking to Deva before this, and I think one big aspect of school life is being able to talk to your friends, being able to interact with your teachers. And I think when you are home alone and you're studying by yourself and doing these online classes, you become a lot less productive, and it has like an impact on your mental health as well. And so I think some people, if you guys are in like a good like area which doesn't have that many infections or like COVID cases, try to go out and like meet your friends for like a study group period, or just try to interact with people and the outside world a bit. When you are isolated and alone in your room, it can sometimes feel a bit scary and kind of just alone.
Sometimes you're alone with your negative thoughts, especially you guys are like a lot of you guys are about to apply for universities, or you might be very stressed studying. So it's not helpful if you're always alone with so many negative thoughts. So make sure you reach out to friends, or you ask your friends how they're doing, because you never know how alone they might feel. Yeah, and it's better to not overlook or underestimate their problems.
That's true.
So we don't have that much challenges to our lives because mostly the cases and everything is controlled quite well. So the only challenge we have to face is about studying, and we don't get to go to school and stay at home study through Zoom, and sometimes the internet is not really well, and we have problems connecting with our teachers and sometimes missing some parts of our lesson, and it's kind of hard to understand like the regular traditional classrooms. So that's the only problem I have with studying.
We also are not able to meet our friends, which I feel a bit lonely, to be honest. And we also were forced to stuck in our house. And I want to do exercises because, our health is important. But, since we're stuck in the house, I don't have that many chances to go outside and move myself a bit.
For me, COVID-19 could certainly provide a challenge for learning, of course. And during daily activities, I can't really go, even if just buy some groceries. And I find it difficult to buy some equipment that I need for daily life and support for learning. And even for learning, it is difficult. We have to carry out online learning, which is, in my opinion, is a challenge for students. Students find it difficult to understand some materials, but anyone force us to understand the materials with this system. I think that's a challenge for us. We can't understand the materials, but everyone force us to understand that.
I think you make a completely good point. I think one thing we always overlook or take for granted in classrooms is being able to ask your teacher questions, being able to ask for feedback. And so I think obviously it's a big struggle, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that is something that other people might struggle with as well. And I think especially during the COVID pandemic, one opportunity to see is that now you have to try to like learn yourself. And so I think it's a big skill, self-studying is a skill, because if you know how to self-study, you can, after school, like after college, after university, you can learn all these things by yourself, So rather than maybe see it as like a really big problem, which honestly I think it is in some ways a big problem that you can go out and buy like school materials, maybe see it in like a positive way as well, because there are some like good things about it as well. I think it's always good to be optimistic.
Yeah.
But I understand you so much.
Yeah. And I feel like this has never happened to any other generation before.
That's true.
Although it's a big struggle for us now, I think it will help us grow so much intellectually and academic wise as a generation, because we know how to like learn by ourselves and use all the resources from the internet, which like there's so much information on the internet. It's like unlimited, and there's so much knowledge to deal with.
I don't have any challenges, but about COVID-19, I don't have anything to tell, but uh, about COVID-19, it's harder to study and we don't go out and don't go exercise. But if I want to know something or want to know anything, I can research at the Google or study online class. And about teacher, and we just see at the online class and another yes, and about friends, we don't meet any friends because just stay at home, not go anywhere.
I completely agree, and obviously, like you mentioned, like exercise as well. But I think, like even if you can't meet your friends, you can sometimes like call them. I'm not sure if you have good internet connection, but sometimes, like for example, if I want to talk to a friend, or not even talk to a friend, even if I'm doing my work, I will just call them and leave them there, and we can just do work like it's like we're sitting next to each other. So it's like a tip for you, like if you want, if you just feel lonely, sometimes you just need someone's presence with you, I think.
ในช่วงตอนสถานการณ์ที่เขามีการล็อกดาวน์ของประเทศไทยครับผมคือเป็นในระหว่างช่วงนั้นคือผมเรียนอยู่ปี2ครับผมก็เลยเป็นช่วงของการออกฝึกงานซึ่งมีปัญหาเกี่ยวกับการออกฝึกงานไม่ได้ครับผมแล้วก็สถานประกอบการให้ทุกสถาบันได้เราก็เลยต้องมีปัญหาในการหาที่ฝึกงานใหม่ทำให้เราล่าช้าในการฝึกงานครับผมอันนี้คือเป็นปัญหาแรกที่เราเจอครับส่วนเรื่องอื่นด้วยผมอยู่กับสถานที่ชนบทก็อาจจะไม่ได้เจอเกี่ยวกับเรื่องเศรษฐกิจเรื่องอะไรเท่าไหร่ครับผมเวลาเราไปโรงเรียนใช่ไหมครับสิ่งแรกเลยคือเวลาเราจะเข้าโรงเรียนคือแมสเป็นสิ่งสำคัญเพราะว่าถ้าเกิดใครไม่ใส่แมสคือเขาก็จะไม่เข้าสถานศึกษาเวลาเราใส่แมสทั้งวันเนี่ยครับผมมันก็จะเกิดการระคายเคืองในทางปากครับผมเพราะว่ามันเกิดการปิดตลอดเวลาในช่วงที่สถานศึกษาเขาให้ปฏิบัติตัวครับผมแล้วก็อีกอย่างหนึ่งก็คือเวลาเราไปไหนมาไหนครับการใช้ชีวิตนะครับมันก็จะไม่เหมือนปกติครับผมเวลาไปพบเจอใครเราก็จะอยู่ห่าง
The first point he made was the idea of the loss of internship opportunities because right now he's in his second year of university and it's where people in his major usually go out and get practical hands-on experience and go on internships. But then because of COVID and because of the lockdown situation in Thailand, he hasn't been able to go about and do his internship. And he has had to stay at home. And it's much more difficult to find jobs and to find internship afterwards as well. I agree a lot because if I've known some lunpi or some like older students in medical school who were supposed to take their NL national license medical exam last year, but because of the COVID, they had to COVID pandemic, they had to cancel this exam and move it to this year. And so now they're very busy because they have to go on they have to go on and treat patients and do all this whilst studying for their national license exam as well.
This COVID-19 pandemic was really challenged myself on my studies because before this pandemic happened to my life, we will study at our school. And we have our own schedules in our class. So I can concentrate on all of subjects to either for learning. But after this pandemic, COVID-19 happened to my life, I can concentrate 100% all of my subjects to learn. So it is very hard to me. It is difficult for me to learn and to concentrate all subjects for me because I have many gadgets in my home. So I'm busy with all my gadgets.
Secondly, from this virus pandemic also has affected my daily life, like feeling too bored due to the MCO. Like when our government in Russia has launched this order, so automatically I can meet with other friends and play together as usual. Because of that, I only need to stay at my home and finish my time with my gadget and my books. for me, it's kind of like board things to do whole day during the MCO. Like really different before the MCO has started. That we used to have futsal and have a vacation together at any interesting places. And on the other hand, we also can make a study group like before this pandemic has begun to start, because we prefer, we more prefer to study at the state library because there are more resources there and easy to communicate with others. And furthermore, we actually prefer printed books than online books or e-books, but we have no choices. Then just stay at our home, as our responsibility to curb this virus from become more aggressive. And by the way, sometimes it also has disturbed my daily mood because I'm really bored staying at home without go out anywhere.
So the main challenge that I face during online classes is definitely that I get bored very easily. So I either listen to music while studying or study with friends to keep myself entertained while studying. And when they start letting some students go back to school on July 1st, we did like a mix of going to school and doing online classes. And that has definitely slowed down the pace of our lessons. So it was a little hard to keep track of the studies. So yeah.
So one of the challenges that I faced during on my studies during COVID-19 pandemic is that I couldn't fully understand when I studied by myself, especially in mathematics. So I needed a guidance from teachers, but sometimes it was difficult for me to interact with them and ask them questions because we didn't have face-to-face learning, mutual learning with teachers. Okay, so for example, in mathematics, we have formulas, right? But how could we know how the formulas work if there is no guidance from teachers? So the solution, my teacher took an initiative to send us a PDF of mathematics note, how these formulas work, a few exercises for us to complete, and we discussed together in Google Meet. And if I don't understand any of the topics, I will personally contact with the teachers for personal coaching.
I don't have to tell you much about COVID-19. School in Laos was closed and restaurant was closed too. No one don't go out. I exercise with my younger sister. I study in online. Sometimes I search some information in the Google. About friends, we chatted in Messenger and another app.
I wouldn't say that I was very dedicated to studying during quarantine, but in order to motivate myself, I did watch a lot of YouTube videos of people studying and also reminding myself that if I study, I can get to where I want to be,
One tip for me is obviously very, very simple. There's this app on for like PCs and for laptops and like Macs. There's this thing called Microsoft To Do. I think you guys should get it. I use it and it's really helpful for keeping track of all my tasks. Also, Notion is really good, right? As a note-taking app. Note-taking app in organization.
I myself don't find to focus on the lessons, because sometimes I do watch YouTube videos while studying, but in order to stay focused, I just have a strong mind, determination. I just talk to myself that after all of this is over, I can do whatever I want. So right now, just focus on the lesson.
And also, while studying online, we still have to keep the schedule as we used to at school. So starting our lesson at 7 a.m. and sometimes ending at 10:45, I think, or 11:25. Yes, and it's a lot. So we move into different classrooms to study different lessons, and sometimes that distracts you because you have 10 or 15-minute breaks. and I start watching movies, and that is how sometimes it distracts me from studying, but I still get the lesson, and that's good.
And since a lot of people have talked about like how they've like lost focus, going back to the previous question, I just like wanted to give a small tip. I think it's so important to focus. Like amidst the COVID pandemic, it's really difficult to focus on the true reason why you want to go into a certain career path, because there are all these problems, all these big global issues that seem so much like larger than us. But in times where we're with ourselves and we're with our own thoughts, it's important to go back and find our own reason as to why we want to go a certain area, whether it be fashion, medicine, engineering, anything you want, and go back into the real reason why you want to pursue that, and like find a big reason why you want to do that, and it will like motivate you again to want to work hard for that. Otherwise you get distracted very easily, and you don't like maintain that productivity throughout all these 3-4 months of the lockdown.
Okay, this is what I've been doing before this. Before sleep, I will list all of the things that I will do on the next day, plan before sleep. Yes, so our day on the next day will be very productive.
Like for example, like if you do it before you sleep and you wake up, you have a list of what you're gonna do. Like if you don't have that, you will wake up and you'll like not really know what to do, and you'll just like waste like 3 hours. Mr. Solwan, do you do a thumbs up just then?
He did.
Do you want to talk about why you gave Attica a thumbs up? Do you agree?
Yes, because that's good. Yes, that's good about information.
I remember like we're not in quarantine anymore, but I remember during quarantine, me and my friends every night we like all of us we would have a video call, a Zoom call, where we would just film ourselves making Milo before we sleep. Like we would like all of us would just make Milo together, and like I think that was like what kind of kept me sane, sort of. Yeah. I feel like it's quite important for you to have your friends around, especially during a time where you're always alone and with your thoughts. It's not a good sign, especially when you're in adolescence, you know?
I think especially like during, obviously we're like social creatures, but right now, like I think during school, even more so like during the pandemic, you need someone there to like be with you, you know? So like Ravina said, like even if you're just making Milo together, or like talking to each other before going to bed, or just like de-stressing, just like talk to each other a little bit. It's a really good idea. Like Miss Hatsani said as well, like just like stay in contact with them, even through just like Messenger, just shoot them one message. Like that's always a really good idea. Show them that you care and that you're there for them, and they'll also be there for you as well.
And not only are your friends there to support you mentally, but they can also help you if you don't understand certain like academic materials.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like Attica said, Attica, I'm so sorry. If you're struggling with mathematics, and if, for example, your teacher is not answering your emails, you can ask your smart friend to explain it to you through call. Or yeah, I think that helps a lot, especially in university where classes are like 200 students up, and teachers like are too busy.
But there's not only always one smart student. Like your friend could be really smart in math, and you could be really smart at like business or like science, you know? So the best way to learn is to teach. And so if you can like hop on a call with someone and teach them the concept, you're gonna understand it better. I think for me, it has just taught me to appreciate like the education we have, because like we've always had access to education, right? We've always been in our classrooms. We've always been able to engage with our friends and our teachers, ask questions. And I think the pandemic has taken that away from us. And so I think after all this is done, and after we go back to our classrooms, I'm going to pay a lot more attention, and I'm going to appreciate my teachers a lot more. And I'm just going to kind of appreciate my education a lot more.
I feel like this pandemic has not only taught us as students, but it's taught like teachers to rely more on online resources, which are in many ways more efficient than like old-fashioned traditional methods. For example, like we have online textbooks, they have e-lectures now, we have videos from which we can learn, and all these things, they're a lot more efficient than having to write down on paper a lot of the times. And I think, yeah, that's a good progression towards like a lot more efficient teaching in future.
I've definitely learned to not take my lessons for granted because like you brought up earlier, it was a lot easier to ask questions in class.
Do you think that's going to change how you act in school after we go back to school, after all this is over?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to ask more questions and pay attention more.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with existence of COVID. We can more appreciate education that we have and time with.
Talking about cleanliness, like when we go out for maybe we want to buy something, we need to wear masks or we need to bring our hand sanitizers, and we also use the hand sanitizers because before this pandemic happened to our life, we we just buy anything and we don't need hand sanitizers. But after this pandemic, we always use these hand sanitizers and 1 meter distance.
For me, from the COVID-19 pandemic, that I can bond my family relationship. Let's look before the MCO in our country, Malaysia. Like everybody was very busy with their own business. Like my parents were so busy with their work that they went to their office since like whole day. They spend their times only for work, so that they don't have any time to spend with my siblings and so on. My siblings also were very busy with their own assignments. Like we have no time to spend together, like playing football at the field together or watching the movie and so on. So without beyond a shadow of a doubt that when the pandemic of COVID-19 has started to spread, that so we can spend our time together.
I think that was such a good way of answering it, because I think when we think of COVID-19, we think of a pandemic, and obviously it has taken lives away, you know, and it has, like, I mean, it's a bad thing, obviously, but there is a silver lining to it, you know. It's bringing families together because you get to spend more time together. And I think that was such a good answer. Thank you so much for sharing that.
COVID-19 pandemic has taught me a lot. Good work is very important for me. So when I come back to school, I will involve more in group discussion. Yes. And furthermore, I think internet is very important for me because when I have questions, I always ask Mr. Google. During COVID-19, it has touched me a lot. It made me know about myself with my family.
เช่นมีคนมาเล่าประสบการณ์อะไรให้ฟังอย่างนี้ครับผมก็จะเก็บเกี่ยวประสบการณ์อย่างนั้นแล้วก็อยากเรียนรู้อะไรเพิ่มเติมก็จะไปเรียนรู้ในไปถาม Google ครับ Google ตอบได้ทุกอย่าง ผมก็จะถามในสิ่งที่ผมอยากรู้ในสิ่งที่ผมสงสัยซึ่งตลอดในช่วงเวลาอยู่กับบ้านนะครับซึ่งผมได้เรียนรู้ไม่หลากหลายเรื่องมากครับผมซึ่งมารวมกันแล้วมันเป็นประโยชน์ในช่วงหยุดแบบนี้ครับผมสิ่งแรกเลยคือที่เราเรียนรู้ก็คือการใช้ชีวิตซึ่งมันจะมีเขาเรียกว่าไลฟ์โค้ชนะครับผมซึ่งเข้ามาสอนเกี่ยวกับการใช้ชีวิตการที่จะอยู่ร่วมกับผู้อื่นยังไงการไปเรียนต่อ
Okay, so to summarize what P. Wantai said, it's the idea of during the COVID pandemic, he relied a lot on social media. Have to take classes specifically on how to develop yourself and how to like reflect on yourself and improve on your own weaknesses as well. And I see a lot of value in that. Yeah.
COVID-19 pandemic taught me about life, and we use the life is so harder and study harder, and too it's so hard to go out. We just wear mask, face mask to go out every time. Yes, that's so hard to use the life. Yes, for study. Yes, we didn't choose. We didn't see any friends and any teacher. Just a little bit teacher to touch me about online classes. Yes, all right.
Sure, the COVID-19 pandemic taught me many things, and one of them is that I can enhance my IT skill because we had online classes. And when we had online classes, we used a lot of platforms to join the online classes, such as Google Meet, Zoom Meeting, Google Classroom, Telegram, Instagram, and also WhatsApp group. So from this, I can explore a lot of things that I didn't know before. Especially during English online class, I really love English online class because my teacher, she is very creative. She created an Instagram account which is called Super Smaza, and as a platform to reach out with students and to post English material such as idioms, proverbs, grammars, and many more. So surely I could learn a lot of things from this Instagram. And besides, my English teacher also asked us to create a vlog. So before this, I didn't know how to handle the camera, how to use the camera well. So from this, I'm not saying that I'm a pro now, but I'm trying. And now, yeah, that I could gain more knowledge about IT, information technology. So yeah, it's a really good chance. Okay. And at first, this COVID-19 was a burden to me, but now I could adapt with the new norms during COVID-19 pandemic.
One point you mentioned is the idea of teachers accommodating to help us students in the pandemic, and I think that's so important. And it's so important to appreciate teachers, how hard teachers work to help us. Like, for example, you talked about your teacher making that English Instagram account. I think that's so lovely. I think it's such a good idea, and it would help students with English so much across the world. So everyone take note. But like, I think I agree with that as well, because in my own experience, like teachers and professors at university have like created online Zoom calls, webinars about research opportunities for us to help us as well. Like, to tell us more and to like give us information that we would have gotten like on site and we would have gotten in real life if we didn't have the COVID pandemic. So they're helping a lot, like they're helping us a lot in this situation, which like we all should be really, really grateful for.
COVID-19 taught me anything. It taught me about my life. I didn't see my cousin and didn't go out. About study, we just learn in online class.
I think what it taught me was to be more grateful for family. Like, I remember like for 3 months when we were, was it 4 months under quarantine, I didn't get to see my grandpa since we were advised to stay away from the elderly.
I think what we have to be really grateful for is social media and the internet amid this pandemic, because if this pandemic were to happen like 3 or 4 decades earlier, or like in the 20th century, then I feel like all education would be halted for that whole period. Like, we wouldn't have the online resources to study with our teacher, and like education would pause in the moment. But because we have all this, we can continue learning. And especially since we're in an era where there's so much knowledge coming in all the time from YouTube videos, from online courses, from our teachers, from everything. I think we are so lucky to have that. And I think we have to really appreciate the fact that we have all this knowledge, and we have to instead of seeing the COVID pandemic as like a stop in our education, we have to really use these resources as well as possible, and use this period of time as a way to develop ourselves and develop our knowledge, whether that be knowledge on academics, on maths, on
and assessment. study by Zoom, group chat, Telegram, and Line for the student easy to study.
The teachers have helped by preparing online classes and helping the students adapt to the life in COVID-19 by pandemic too much and not be scared of it, but also to be careful with our surroundings because again we're in a pandemic and it's dangerous, but we can easily protect ourselves.
Teacher also introduce students to watch electronic tutorials such as Wiki School TVK2, organized by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport.
So, it is started when once my teacher called me to join an online competition during the MCO. So from this, I've learned many things such as improve my writing skills, enhance my knowledge and so on. Thus, it really helped me through the challenges of COVID-19 that has blocked our learning with our teachers before.
COVID-19 period, teacher provide study materials by Telegram, Zoom, and Messenger. Teacher motivates us by teaching students to study remotely through Telegram, Zoom, page Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport. I really appreciate my teacher work. I would like to thank my teacher so much.
My teachers did help me a lot, especially in studies. They used a lot of effective ways to make sure that we were not left behind in studies, even though COVID-19 pandemic had become a boundary between teachers and students from having mutual learning. One of those effective ways is social media platform. Before this COVID-19 outbreak, we rarely used social media as a platform to study and learn together. But now, Telegram, WhatsApp group, and also Instagram have become the most preferred platforms among students and teachers to study and learn together. For example, through Telegram, I learned mathematics, Arabic, and history with teachers and my friends. My teachers always share notes and exercises for us, and it made me really appreciate their endless efforts. Besides, we also have a school Instagram page, a platform where students learn English, which is called Super Smaza. My English teacher did a very good job in handling this page as a platform to reach out with students and to post English materials such as idioms, proverbs, grammars, and many more.
Sometimes I meet my teacher to take the head out of exercise to do and return within a week.
ครูที่เป็นแรงบันดาลใจในการใช้ชีวิตของผมนะครับครูก็จะเป็นครูที่แผนกของผมเองก็คือท่านเป็นเปรียบเสมือนเป็นแม่ครับคอยหยิบยื่นโอกาสให้อยู่ตลอดเวลาไม่ว่าจะเป็นโครงการดีๆอะไรเงี้ยท่านก็จะหยิบยื่นเข้ามาให้ท่านเป็นคนที่พูดยังไงทำอย่างนั้นเป็นคนที่รักลูกศิษย์มากแล้วก็ที่สำคัญเลยคือท่านเป็นแบบอย่างที่ดีมากท่านพูดอะไรออกไปในทางที่ดีท่านก็จะในแนวทางปฏิบัติก็ดีท่านก็จะทำให้ดูนะครับโดยที่ท่านไม่ได้พูดอย่างเดียวโดยการสมมติว่าถ้าอย่างช่วงโรคระบาดโควิด -19 เข้ามานะครับท่านบอกให้สวมแมสก่อนเข้าวิทยาลัยอะไรประมาณนี้ผมแล้วก็ให้ล้างมือก่อนเข้าวิทยาลัยนะครับผมท่านก็จะใส่แมสมาตลอดแล้วก็ล้างมือให้เป็นแบบอย่างตลอดเวลาซึ่งเป็นภาพที่ผมเห็นแล้วแบบเป็นหน้าที่ประทับใจภูมิใจและน่าเอามาเป็นแบบอย่าง
For me, my teachers are such a kind people. They have big heart. This is because they are willing to make an extra class for the students. This shows me about their compassion to teach the students during this COVID-19 pandemic. We all know that it is very difficult for us to gain our knowledge during this pandemic, but
when I see my teachers are very excited to teach me in class, so I think I should appreciate them. Honestly to say, I am very proud of my teacher because they are willing to make some extra classes for the students. This is because their strong determination and compassion through this COVID-19 pandemic. So I think they inspired me through this. Although they put 100% effort to fight this COVID-19 pandemic, but they are still willing to share their knowledge to others.
Teachers will help us in any way that they can, and they've made events and other things, other projects to salvage the projects we didn't get to do because of COVID.
My teacher inspired me. For me, my teachers inspired me through many ways. They have spent their time to help us in our study to make sure that we are not left behind in our learning. For example, my math teacher has bought a new whiteboard to ease us when she is teaching. So, without beyond a shadow of a doubt that my teachers have sacrificed their time and their money to help us in our learning during the MCO.
Teacher always inspire me to have a habit of self-study, reading book, and keep studying hard. And when I have questions, I can always ask them for further explanation.
My teachers inspired me by showing their enthusiasm and passionate side. From this, I learned that teachers put their hearts and souls in teaching in order for their students to succeed. As a saying goes, success is a ladder that cannot be climbed with your hands in your pockets. I feel very grateful for having them as my teachers as they inspired me a lot through the challenges of COVID-19.
So, before we end, we would like to congratulate Thailand in handling and curbing this COVID-19 pandemic. That's all from us now. Bye!
We hope you health, success, and happiness.
So with that, see you all later.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you for lending me your ears. ขอบคุณค่ะ
I hope we can fight this COVID-19 pandemic together. #we must win.